Hare Krishna. Welcome all devotees to the Gita Daily session. So thanks for joining the program. So today we will be discussing Sloka number 2.45. So 45th Sloka from chapter 2. Let's take the blessings of the Lord before we start. So we'll pray to Lord Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadramai, Sudarshan, Gaurantay, Lakshmi Narasimhadev and Panchatattva for their blessings so that we can understand the difficult topics of spirituality. So let us recite the prayers. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमदे भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन् इति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So let us thank Srila Prabhupada, who has founder Acharya of ISKCON, who has actually dedicated his life for spreading the Vedic knowledge throughout the world. And because he has given the Bhagavad Gita in a very simple and practical way, we are able to understand and apply it in our daily life. So let's thank Srila Prabhupada. So today's shloka is shloka number 45 from chapter 2. So we'll recite the shloka. Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nistraigunyo Bhavarjuna Nirdhvando Nitya Sattvasto Niryoga Kshema Atmavan. We'll repeat the shloka. Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nistraigunyo Bhavarjuna Nirdhvando Nitya Sattvasto Niryoga Kshema Atmavan. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, translation is the Vedas deal mainly with the subject of three modes of material nature, O Arjuna. Become transcendental to these three modes. Be free from all dualities and from all anxieties for gain and safety, and be established in the self. So, let us see the word to word meaning. Traigunya, pertaining to the three modes of material nature. Vishaya, on the subject matter. Veda, Vedic literatures. Nistraigunya, transcendental to the three modes of material nature. Bhava, be. Arjuna, O Arjuna. Nirdvanda, without duality. Nitya Sattvasta, in a pure state of spiritual existence. Niryoga Kshema, free from ideas of gain and protection. Atmavan, established in the self. So we are continuing the discussion of Bhagavad Gita. So today's topic is the Lord actually is motivating Arjuna to rise above the three modes. So the Lord says that the Vedas deal with the three modes of material nature and become transcendental to the three modes. So we will see in more details what are the three modes and what Krishna actually means by rising above the three modes. And further he says, be free from all dualities and from all anxieties of gain and safety and be established in the self. So Krishna was explaining to Arjuna what is the real self, right? We have seen that the soul or the Atma is the real self, and the normal activities of the material world are mostly focusing on the body. So Krishna is telling Arjuna that rise above the bodily platform and come to the spiritual platform, right? So this is the appeal, or this is what the Lord is urging Arjuna. So today's topic is a very crucial topic. It's a fundamental topic which actually lays the foundation of understanding many of the spiritual topics. So the modes of material nature are very important to understand. So let us understand, try to look into it in more detail. So I'll try to, yeah. So let's understand that. So basically, according to Vedic scriptures, there are three modes. The three modes are Sattva Guna, Rajoguna, and Tamoguna. Or Sattva Guna is known as the mode of goodness, Rajoguna is known as the mode of passion, and Tamoguna is known as the mode of ignorance. So I think we generally know little bit about it. No? So we call the Sattvic, right? Sattvic food or Sattvic restaurant. We know about it. So the sattvic or sattva is actually known as the mode of goodness, right? Which is the this is the highest mode, or it can be the best mode. We can be in the material world, sattva. Then actually comes the rajoguna, which is the middle, which is the mode of passion, which actually comes in between. And then the lowest mode is the mode of ignorance, or tamoguna. So everything in the material world, it can be classified into the three modes. So, for example, no, in the latest chapters of Bhagavad Gita, it is mentioned that the food actually that we eat, can be classified into the three modes. Sattva is the sattvic food, which actually is pleasing, which will actually increase health, right? So, for example, fruits, milk, etc. No, is considered in the mode of goodness. Then actually the food in the mode of passion, which actually is agitating the mind. For example, the food which contains like things like onion, garlic. So this actually has a strong influence on the mind. It agitates the mode of passion. So this is the mode of passion, and mode of ignorance is actually food which is very old, which is too much spicy. So this kind of food actually, like, for example, non-vegetarian food. So these are considered the food in the mode of ignorance. So when we associate with the respective modes, we also get those modes, all those qualities. So when we eat sattvic food, our mind and consciousness will be in the sattva guna. No, so we will be in the mode of goodness. When we associate with the food which is rajasic, or like onion, garlic, our consciousness also become passionate or rajasic. Similarly, the mode of ignorance. So this way, even the time of the day, the early morning time is in the mode of goodness. Afternoon is considered as a mode of passion, and in the night it is considered as a mode of ignorance. So everything is a combination. All the different activities, or the experience that we go through in the material world is a mixture of these three modes. So sometimes we are in one of these modes, or sometimes we are in the mixture of the modes, three modes. Accordingly, we conduct our activity. So when we are in the mode of passion, we are actually very much we behave maybe in an aggressive way, or we are very much driven by the mode of passion. So so we become very active, and then we are actually ready to strive hard, for success, etc., etc. So basically everything in the material world is in the three modes, right? So it is always best to be in the mode of goodness, because that is the best that we can achieve in the material world generally, right? And beyond the modes is a transcendental platform. Beyond the sattva guna or above the sattva guna is a mode known as Shuddha Sattva. So the Shuddha Sattva is not something of the material world. No, this is the mode of the spiritual world, or the transcendental platform. So Krishna is asking Arjuna that you, don't get stuck to the three modes. You rise above the three modes. So what it actually means. So, and also Krishna is saying that Traigunya Vishaya Veda, right? So Krishna is saying, Arjuna, the Vedic scriptures or the Vedas mostly deal with the three modes, right? And and Krishna is asking Arjuna to rise above that. So let us try to understand a little bit about this. So actually, the word Veda actually means knowledge, right? It's a general term, but actually in our practical context, Veda actually refers to the body of Vedic scriptures, and the Vedic scriptures is very vast. So Vedic scriptures consist of primarily, the four Vedas, right? Rig Veda, Sama Veda, Atharva Veda, and Yajurveda. So these are the four Vedas. And then we have other upangas, like, or the main angas, also the Brahmanas and Aranyakas. Then the upangas like Puranas, Itihasas, right, and Upanishads. So it's like that. The Vedic knowledge is very vast. So it was mentioned that initially the Vedas were one, and no, Veda Vyas, actually he divided the Veda into four. So basically, essentially, we have to understand that the Vedic knowledge is very, very vast, right? And the Vedas also have different sections. Like primarily, there are the Karma Kanda section, the Jnana Kanda, Upasana Kanda. So these are the three broad categories of the sections of Vedas. So the Vedic knowledge actually is known as Apaurushaya. So what it means is that the Vedic knowledge is not written by some material person, some Purusha in this world, but actually it comes from the higher platform. Or basically, the Lord Himself give the Vedic knowledge. When the creation happens, the Vedic knowledge is also provided for all the jivas who are residing in the material world, to give information how they can conduct their life, right? but it also gives information how they can get out of the cycle of birth and death, and also how they can get in the highest platform. So, but what Lord is saying is that most of the Vedas, the majority of the Vedic scriptures, it talking about the three modes, or it talks about how one can be happy within this material world. Right. So the information of how to get out of the cycle of birth and death is a confidential knowledge, is also part of the Vedic knowledge, but then it is not very easily accessible to everybody. Unless and until we make progress in spiritual life under the bona fide spiritual master, it is very difficult to get into the information about liberation. And furthermore, so liberation is also not the ultimate goal. Right? Liberation is the first step. No, getting out of the cycle of birth and death is the first part. Like for example, if you are in the jail, your first goal is to get out of the jail, right? And after getting out of the jail, probably you may live a very happy life. You may go to a very nice place, settle there, and live. So like that, getting out of the cycle of birth and death is essential, and it is a first step. But then the highest step is actually returning or gaining or getting back our original constitutional spiritual position in the spiritual world, right? And then going back to our original service of serving the Lord. So in this is the ultimate goal. So this is the topmost confidential knowledge. Again, no, this knowledge actually also only attainable to people or those person who make progress in spiritual life under the guidance of a spiritual master. So what we are understanding, trying to understand, is that Krishna is telling Arjuna that the three modes of material nature, if you act under the three modes of material nature, sattva, raja, and tamo, still you will be bound by the action and reaction cycle. You will be still bound by the karma. So, for example, if you add in the mode of goodness, you will do pious activities or punya karma, right? When you do punya karma, you again take birth to enjoy the results of the punya. And when you act under no ignorance, mode of ignorance or passion, and commit sinful activities, again you have to take birth to suffer the reaction. So either you work in mode of goodness, passion, or ignorance, still you are actually bound by the karmic laws, and still you will be entangled by doing any of the activity in sattva, raja, or tama. You will become more and more entangled in the material world. You cannot become liberated. So hence Arjuna, Krishna is telling Arjuna, you rise above the three modes, go beyond it. So one important thing we have to understand from this particular topic, today's discussion, is just because no somebody is following the Vedic scriptures doesn't essentially mean that he will be on the highest. He can attain the highest perfection. So just like the because all the people, the people, if you take, everybody is not on the same level, right? So some majority of the people are not completely ignorant about the Vedic knowledge. So they just act according to their instincts. No, so they don't even come under the Vedic fold. So they are known as karmagandis. Then there is karma yoga. No, actually, when they act according to scriptures, but then that is the beginning, right? So based on our level of knowledge or level of advancement, different sections of Vedas may be appealing to those category of people. So the people who are attached to the just the karma kanda part, or no, or even the upasana kanda, or even the jnana kanda, right? Any of these things, it doesn't mean that they are on the transcendental platform, because they, for example, if you talk about karma kanda, they talk about various various sacrifices or yagyas, homas, that actually you can perform, so that no you can get a higher position in the material world. No, you may be elevated to the higher planets like Swargaloka or Tavaloka, etc. So but then still you are within this fold of cycle of birth and death. It is mentioned that Abrahma Bhuvana Loga Punaravartino Arjuna. So even if you go to the topmost planet in the material world, Brahmaloka, which is the abode of Lord Brahmaji, still you are under the cycle of birth and death. So we have to understand that just because somebody I am following the Vedic scriptures, it doesn't necessarily mean that you are at the highest platform, because the Vedic scriptures, most of the Vedic scriptures talk about how to be comfortable in the material world, right? So this has to be very clear to us. Okay, so accordingly we need to understand, we have to make progress. So we will see later that there are different yoga ladder we will see, right? There is karma yoga, like jnana yoga, dhyana yoga, and then bhakti yoga. So that we will see. So generally the Vedic scriptures is having all these different sections. Why? Because it actually gives a opportunity for the jiva to make a gradual progress. We cannot at day one become come to the topmost level, right? So for the normal category of people, or the most majority of the population, The Vedic scriptures are given such that they can make step by step slow progress, one level to level, next level, like that. So that is why the Veda directly doesn't talk about highest principle. The highest principles are actually confidential, and it is somewhere hidden in the Vedic knowledge. Without the help of a spiritual master or a guru who has already self-realized, it is very difficult to understand that. So this is some basic things or concepts that actually we need to understand, right? How the Vedas are classified, how the Vedas provide an opportunity for gradual elevation to higher and higher levels, right? And what is the confidential knowledge? So in Bhagavad Gita, the Lord talks about the confidential knowledge or bhakti, in the later chapters. So that we will see as we progress. So even many people might have read Bhagavad Gita, right? But then it doesn't necessarily mean, no, you may be a scholar in Sanskrit, but this scholarship in Sanskrit necessarily give you access to the confidential part. You may understand the things from a superficial part, but then you will not actually get the essence. So the essence of Bhagavad Gita is mentioned in 15th chapter, 15th shloka. Krishna says, Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto matas smridir jnanam apohanam cha vedaischa sarver ahameva vedyo vedantakrit veda videhacham. So the part that vedaischa sarver ahameva vedyo. So Krishna says that vedaischa sarver ahameva. So from all the Vedas, the purpose of all the Vedas, vedaischa sarver ahameva vedyo, it is to understand the Supreme Lord Krishna, right? If you have read all the Vedic scriptures, but still you are not able to understand who is Lord Krishna, then all your knowledge is not useful, right? But and if somebody did not read Vedas, but he came to the conclusion that Supreme Lord Krishna is the source of everything, is the ultimate destination, then actually he has understood the essence of Vedas. So this is what Lord Himself says, and he's also said that Vedesha Sarver Aham Eva Vedyo Vedanta Krit Veda Videhacham. So he said, I am the compiler of the Vedas. So Krishna, in the form of Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa or Vyasadeva, he has compiled the Vedic scriptures, right? And actually, and he's a Noda, so he's the only person who fully understands the Vedas. So this is what the Lord says, the ultimate conclusion. So, and one more important thing is that, as we mentioned, right, the Vedic knowledge is very vast. There are so many Vedic scriptures like the Upanishads, Puranas, etc., Itihasas. But Vyasadeva has compiled, and the maturity of after writing all the Vedic scriptures, he was not happy. And Narad Muni actually tells that because you are not given the topmost knowledge of Vedas directly, you are unhappy. And hence, the Vyasadeva compiled Srimad Bhagavatam, right? The Bhagavata Purana is compiled by him. So that is the conclusion of all is the essence of Vedanta. So there is Vedanta Sutra, and Srimad Bhagavatam is a natural commentary on Vedanta Sutra. So Srimad Bhagavatam is the topmost scripture from that perspective for those who are aspiring to get the highest knowledge of transcendence. So actually Vedanta Sutra also has this knowledge, but actually it is very cryptic or very condensed form. It is very difficult for ordinary people to understand. Hence, the commentary is written Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the topmost. So I think, yeah, so we need to conclude. So, so let us look at a small story, to understand how actually, how actually it is important to transcend the modes, right? Or just by following the Vedic scriptures or the Karmaganda, we may not be in the highest platform. So, for this, to illustrate this, there is a small story in the Puranas. So, Narad Muni or Devarshi Narad, no, he actually visits a small village where actually there lives a Brahmana, who actually is well versed. He is a scholar, and he was executing all the Vedic scriptures very pakka. So he was following the rituals. He does various yagyas, homas, etc. And then there was also a very humble cobbler. The cobbler was living in the village, right? This cobbler actually has complete faith in the Lord, but then he doesn't have scriptural knowledge, right? So he has full faith. So the Brahmana actually, though he had well versed in Vedic scriptures, he has read the scriptures, but then he doesn't have that strong faith in the Lord. So this when they met Narad Muni, they asked Narad Muni. Narad Muni says that I am going to Vaikuntha. Do you have any questions to Lord Vishnu? So both of them tell that no. Both of them tell that please ask Vishnu when will we come back to you. And when the Narad Muni reach Vaikuntha, he asked the same question, and then Vishnu reply that this cobbler will come back to me in this very lifetime, but the Brahmana he will take many lifetimes. Then Narad Muni was also confused. No, Narad Muni say how it is possible because no, he is doing all these Vedic scriptures, everything is following. Then the Lord Vishnu will not directly give an answer. He tells that you go and tell them that when you met me, I was actually trying to put an elephant through the eye of a needle. So there is a needle we have for for stitching, right? and it has a small hole. So Vishnu says that I am putting an elephant through this hole. Tell them this. So when the Brahmana hears his, he laughs loudly. He tells that, "Oh, you are actually, joking. Are you joking? How it is possible? No, no, it is not possible to put a elephant in the eye of a needle." On the other hand, the cobbler will be very happy. He says that, okay, he becomes very happy and he claps, and he says that, yeah, there's no surprise in this. No, the Lord can do anything, because he's sitting below a banyan tree, and he says that if the Lord can put this huge banyan tree in a very tiny seed, what is the difficulty for him to put the elephant in the eye of the needle? So he has complete faith. So the lesson that we have to understand is that so then Narad Muni understood, no, why actually how the cobbler is much more elevated. So the point is that just blindly following the scriptural injunctions or Vedic scriptures without understanding the highest principle, or without developing the faith in the Lord, right, actually is not very useful. Because ultimately the the jiva can go back to the Lord only by with the help of the Lord or the Paramatma within that. And unless and until we are able to connect to the Paramatma or the Supreme Lord, right, having faith in the Lord, actually it is not possible to get out of the cycle of birth and death. So this is a small story, just to illustrate this point that just being attached or blindly following the scriptural injunctions is not sufficient. We need to make progress in spirituality. We have to rise above the three modes, right? Then only actually we can get the highest perfection. Okay, so we'll try to wrap up today's session. So what are the important key takeaways that we have from the today's session? Is that apparently, so first thing is that, yeah, most people in the today's world doesn't have any clue of the Vedic information. And even if some people are trying to learn Vedic scriptures, we need to understand that what is the purpose of Vedas, right? And what is the most highest knowledge in the Vedic scriptures, right? What are the three modes? And understand, until we transcend the three modes, we cannot attain the highest goal. So what we can learn, and Krishna is also telling Arjuna that no, you have to rise above you have to rise above the platform of gain and loss. So we need to understand. So what we can apply in our life is that we should not be caught by the temporary ups and downs. So the temporary ups and downs will happen in our life, right? So but and then we should not be so much worried about the outcomes. We should gradually, we should be able to do our responsibilities with firm conviction and faith, but at the same time not don't be attached too much attached to the results, right? So that was Lord asked him to be, the dwanda means the dualities, like success, failure, happiness, distress, heat, cold. So these things will come and go in life. We'll have ups and downs, but then we have to understand it is a passing phase. When we are connected to the Lord, with the mercy of the Lord, we should be able to cross over all the difficulties. So we cannot avoid the difficulties in the life, but then we can pray that we are able to pass over them, cross over them without difficulties, right? We should not be affected by the ups and downs. So this is an important lesson we can learn. And in our day professional life also, we can apply the same principle, no, not being attached to the result, right? And then don't be like overly passionate about the things which we are doing, right? Because being too much attached to the work will cause us distress and happiness, right? Both are actually problem, happiness or distress. So try to be neutral, and at the same time, no, do our best to get the results. Yeah, so with that, I think, no, we come to the end of today's time. uh, so are there any questions? Then you can unmute and ask, or you can put it in the chat. Or if anybody wants to share any experience, no, whether are they finding any benefit by hearing these topics, they can share their experience also. So anybody wants to leave, I think they can leave because the time is over. But if somebody wants to ask a question or share any experience, you're all welcome. Yeah, so then I think, yeah, we continue the session tomorrow. So please, no, join daily. So thanks for all who have joined, and we end the session here. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.